So I'm at one of the locations that I like to come to in order to practice my wildlife photography. It tends to be rabbits that are the main creature that I see here, and I've had some success at photographing them here. And that was my plan for today. I always like to have even a vague plan, a notion as such, of what I'm going to do with the morning. I just find that that helps me to get out of bed in the morning, to be honest with you. I'm not very good at forcing myself to get up to say, right, let's just go and do photography. I always like to mentally be able to say to myself, let's go and do some hare photography or rabbit photography or bee photography or whatever it may be. So having said that, plans are meant to be changed and subject to whatever you happen to see when you're out there. And I have just seen, I don't know if you can see it in the shot, it's a really pretty, quite a large fungus growing on a tree. The light is gone from it now, it's not looking at its best, but probably about half an hour ago, 20 minutes ago, the dappled light falling on it was really pretty. So I've taken some shots, had a little experiment there. I found the best view. What I wanted was looking up the way. So yeah, just the view of the tree canopies in the background with the fungus as the main star of the show. The best way that I found to get that shot was with me lying on the floor with the camera bag, basically acting as a human tripod. So with the camera bag behind my head, using my arm kind of pretty much in the position of a tripod and say looking up the way. I put the ISO up to 400 and I can't remember what aperture I used. It was relatively low because I was very conscious of the shutter speed and not wanting to introduce movement blur. Obviously I put the image stabilizer on the camera, and looking at the photos at least on the back of the camera, they look relatively sharp. I'm quite happy with them, so yeah, we'll see what they look like in Lightroom afterwards. So I'm quite freaked out and excited in equal measure. I've just been taking photographs of a spider. And I'm an arachnophobic, so that's why I'm quite so freaked out. In fact, I've had to move away from where I was taking the photo. I was taking the photo probably about 50 metres down the hill there, and now I've positioned myself, yeah, pretty much as far away from gorse bushes as I can. So yeah, it was around a gorse bush. I was actually trying to take photos of a bee. There were some quite pretty wildflowers, and I'd set the camera up hoping that a bee would then land on one of the flowers that I had in focus. And I had noticed that there were some kind of artistically draped spider webs over the gorse bush, and thought, yeah, let's not get too close. Then I saw the spider, which was ruddy huge. So I then started taking photographs of it, and pretty much as soon as I started taking photographs, another spider came into the web, and promptly, it didn't seem like there was much time involved, one spider just killed the other spider, all whilst I had the camera out and was taking photographs and a bit of video. So yeah, it was really quite cool. What I hope comes across in the photos is how much of a predator this spider is. So what I think really helps the photograph is there's a dead moth to the side of the entrance to the web, and this web is a beautiful web. It's quite intricate, and there are other dead moths lining the entrance to the web, but you can't really tell that that's what they are. They're just kind of detritus on the floor of the entrance to the web, but you've got this one dead moth to the side that you can see really clearly. That's what it is. So what I hope is that I can go through the photos and find one where I've got dead moth, dead spider, victorious spider. Yeah, quite excited to see what they look like actually. So for taking the photos of the spider, I was using the 100 to 400mm lens, and I was using that with and without the extension tube. And this was the first time that I've actually enjoyed and found benefit in using the extension tube. So Sam and myself went out one morning, which we blogged about, where we went out with the extension tube and practicing using it. And I was feeling sleep deprived, I was feeling nauseous as a result, and I hadn't appreciated that with the extension tube it's best to use manual focus rather than autofocus, and the autofocus function doesn't work very well. So that threw me a bit, and that in combination with the sleep deprivation basically meant that I just didn't get on with the extension tube. Whereas just now, taking photos of the spider, I was using manual focus anyway. I had the camera and lens set up on the tripod, and I was using the live view mode, zooming in on the back of the camera to check my focusing. And yeah, so it didn't matter that I had to use manual focus because I was using it anyway. And I know that using the extension tube on a telephoto lens doesn't have much of an effect, but it has some effect. Actually, before we even bought the extension tube, I looked up online to see, is there a way you can tell what effect a tube is going to have on any given lens? I just wanted to know before we spent some money. And there's an equation, I can't remember if it's called the thick lens equation or the thin lens equation. It's some form of equation. Basically, it tells you what the minimum focusing distance is then going to be. And it's known to be a relatively inaccurate equation because it can't take into account, I think it's the light travelling through the glass or how many lens elements you have. It's something to do with that means that it's an approximation. And I did the maths and using the figures for the 100 to 400mm lens, and it basically showed not much of an effect or no beneficial effect. But we bought the tube anyway, and yeah, but I can tell you in practice it does have some effect. I could tell just from the photos on the back of the camera that it just allowed me to zoom in that little bit more, just get that little bit closer, that the subject matter was that little bit bigger in the frame, that it then means that less pixels will be lost in cropping afterwards. So yeah, it's been useful. As I was sat here, I realised I'm sat right next to a whole pile of rabbit poo. This was the main reason for coming out this morning, was to take photos of rabbits, and I have completely failed in that regard. I saw, I think, 3 or 4 rabbits, and I've taken shots not worthy of anything. But yeah, I'm really quite happy with the spider photos. Didn't expect to see spiders this morning. Yeah, I'd say quite freaked out as well, and proud that I have overcome my arachnophobia to a degree. Yeah, so please let me know what you think of the photos below in the comments section. Yeah, if you like this, please click like and please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.